Hey there folks, I'm Pascal here bringing another audio commentary, and today we have a game between Kemper and Cash. Kemper is going to be the light blue human on the left hand side, the 10 o'clock position, and Cash, although he's just given us a bunch of ellipses here, is going to be the dark blue, oh god, light blue, this is dark blue, um, orc on the 2 o'clock position, and we are going to be on Echo Isles, so quite an interesting map for this matchup. Obviously, tower rushes are pretty strong for the human on this in this situation. Those tier 2 tower pushes in particular, you can just do so much. You can just do so much damage with them, especially if you do some good harassment earlier on. If you manage to bring in, to say, a level 3 Archmage with some level 2 water elementals, just try and pick off burrows. You don't even need to kill them, you just need to slow down the orc. Maybe try and delay his tier 2 buildings. All that stuff is really good, but certainly there are other routes. We have seen a lot of humans playing the Mount King first on this map, then really quickly taking your expansion, and then just getting tier 3 air as fast as possible, and just getting a huge 100 food army, and then rolling out eventually. But there's certainly two very divergent strategies on this map. We are seeing an Archmage first for our for Kemper here, so probably we're going to see some sort of tier 2 tower push, so there certainly are other strategies that are viable with that Archmage first. And meanwhile, we are seeing the Blade Master first, obviously from Cash. The Farseer, not the best on this map. He's alright, but he's still, there are many better maps of using the Farseer on, like Twisted Meadows actually is a really good one. The Militia, not sure if he was A-clicked across something, but he's not going to get much scouting because he's actually trying to take down this peon. And actually, with the help of the Archmage, which will pop out soon, he might be able to take it down, because obviously the first footman pops out so quickly, and that second one's actually on the way. But it's going to mean that Kemper's going to have no scouting, so whether or not that's what he wanted, and just he didn't really care about scouting, which against Orc is usually a safe bet, especially against a teammate like this. You normally have a vague idea of what they're going to be doing, you know their play styles, and you know they're not going to be really shaking things up. And it looks like Kemper going to be doing some very simple creeping first, and it looks like the Cash's Blade Master going to run in, hoping to get a creep jack here, but going to be sorely disappointed. Maybe going to try and steal creeper, more likely. Maybe going to try and find where that Archmage actually went, because putting some damage on that is just so useful. Yeah, here the Blade Master goes here, already in Windwalk form. Knows that Archmage must be close around him. Going to get a water elemental kill here. Ooh. Oh, he does actually get that last creep steal, just so close there, but does actually get it, and actually has got a good chunk of experience now as well. The Archmage is heading away. Notice he needs to keep away from that Blade Master while he's still level 1, and looks like he's going to be running down here, maybe get a creep out this camp. That'd be a subtle one to creep out. There's certainly that poison is annoying against all your footmen. No, it looks like he's actually just hiding. You can see the threat of that Blade Master is so large, and we're almost at the first dot of night, so Cash probably going to go buy some boots now, or maybe not. Maybe he's going to go off with his grunt and go creep something out. Maybe he's going to creep out this Ogre Magi for that really nice item. And actually, yes, this cap is now being crept out by Kemper. As I say, it's a bit annoying just because you can get a couple of them poisoned, and because you have a lot of low health units, you can take a lot of damage. But actually, he did quite well there, because two of his footmen actually got ensnared. He didn't get the poison on all his footmen, like does happen occasionally. Blade Master back in yet again, going to try and do some more harassment. Still denying that level 2 on that Archmage, which is such a critical level. And it looks like the Blade Master now going to try and go for a footman kill, but eventually gives up. Notice there's some creeps back home, which are much better to try and kill. And I imagine both players have started their tier 2 attacks by now. Yes, I have. We even have a lumber mill going up very, very early here for Kemper. It's a alright choice. It doesn't cost too much gold, and if you're going to do a tower push, you need to get one at some point. So by getting it a bit earlier, when you do have that gold anyways, just allows you to harvest lumber a bit quicker, and your peasants just have to travel a shorter distance for a longer period of time by getting it so early, and it means that you do have a bit more lumber, which can often be a limiting factor during a tower rush. If, for example, you give it a tower rush and you find that because towers cost so much lumber and not a huge amount of gold, it is quite possible to run out of lumber. That's just so frustrating, especially if you're trying to repair or something like that. Ooh, nice around here. One of the grunts got a bit unfortunate running into the range of this trapper, and he did get ensnared, but look at the Blade Master gonna run in here, gonna chase away that Archmage, who has finally got level 2. Ooh, pick up a ring of protection though. Not what Kemper really want to see. And Cash now going to try and do some more harassment with this water elemental, doing a lot of damage to one grunt, forcing it away, and now the water elemental got have to run for it, going to be killed before he times out, and it looks like some more instairs going off by this one really lucky trapper who stayed alive for much longer than his life expectancy should have been, and luckily the Blade Master gonna get level 2 off this one footman here, if he can get the kill before it runs in. Yes, he can just get it. Very, very nice. And that one Grub was trying to do a bit of helping out, we saw, but actually he ended up getting a bit in the way, and one sheep being mercifully killed there. Just that it's not too important to the outcome of this game, and just I think it's a sign that Cash doesn't have too much to do at this point. He wants to be harassing with his grunts, but his Blade Master is going to be running home to buy up some salves because he doesn't have any, and he needs to heal up that grunt. Ooh, his shop is actually, I thought he hadn't built a shop for a second, and going for that Shadowhunter second, as is so common these days against humans. And meanwhile, we're not seeing any Mount Kings out from the altar, so we're probably going to see a Beastmaster, which is a very solid choice. And ooh, no Panda. Interesting choice there. It's not the worst choice in the world, certainly. It has some nice abilities. I do like the Panda if you can get enough mana, which obviously you get a lot anyways from the Archmage, and you can use Drunken Haze and Breath of Fire. That extra mischance reduces so much DPS from the Orc army, because the Orc army has so few units that you can hit a good proportion of it with that Drunken Haze, but still it's a bit of a gamble really, and he's already shown his hand. Basically he's shown that he's going for this Panda second, and he's going for Breath of Fire first, which obviously isn't too effective unless you can really keep these grunts in the fight, which it's pretty hard to do. If you were, for example, tower rushing, then that would be perhaps slightly better, but at this point he's really just doing damage to grunts, which are going to all be microed away because there's no sorts or anything to slow them down, and getting us around on grunts with just footmen is pretty tricky. And meanwhile, that Panda being only level 1 and still having no experience means he's just so easy to focus down. The Ring of Protection, oh actually, I was going to say the Ring of Protection should be passed, but it looks like Kemper actually sold it, and so it looks like the grunts are all going to get low and be chased away, but they're all going to survive. That's such nice micro there by Cash, whose Shadowhunter is now coming in, but there's just not too much he can do now that he's lost the damage of the grunts. He might be able to get this Panda if he's very lucky. He goes for the Hex, but his Blade Master taking a lot of damage now. Gonna have to buy a healing potion. He does buy one. He doesn't even need to use it though, and looks like we are going to see. Oh, look at this! He goes for the Hex. He turns around, goes out of Windwalk, and looks like Cash is actually going to get that kill. Very, very nice. But now Slow coming out from 2 sorts at once. This is very, very bad for Cash, who's about to lose his Blade Master. He goes into Windwalk form at 36 health, but still the Shadowhunter in a lot of trouble. And Raider coming in, but I don't think Ensnare will be done quite yet. And it looks like this Blade Master will just about be able to get away because there is no dust for Kemper. Very, very nice play there by Cash. I didn't think he'd get that kill and get away, but he just had enough mana to get another Windwalk off. That was so tight, but he did manage to get away with it. And now you see that Kemper thinks, oh well, that Blade Master is low. The Shadowhunter used a lot of mana, can't really harass anyway, so I'm okay to go and do a bit of creeping. But as it happens, the Shadowhunter actually being kept back. Obviously Shadowhunter can't really do a lot of creep stealing, but it's certainly worth trying. But you do need to be careful with that Slow, and that Panda will be back out soon, at which point we could see some sort of push here from Kemper, who's bought a couple priests, so he's actually going to be doing some nice healing over the course of this creeping as well. But it looks like the group chat finally coming in, and the Ogre Magi is probably going to have to be left for another day, as Kemper's going to have to move back, and it looks like we do have an intimidating army here from the Cash, who does still have a Shadowhunter at level 1, well, it's pretty important to get that level 2, considering that, or actually level 3 really, considering he wants that healing. Level 2 or level 1 heal weight isn't brilliant, but it looks like Slow going off at a couple units here, and we did see Cash finish off that creep though. Did pick up a potion of greater healing, which is a great item for the Blade Master. It means you just can't be focused down, you don't even want to try. You know, Panda coming back in, getting a Breath of Fire off, one of these grunts down to 41 health, but gonna be able to run away. Very, very nice plays here by Cash, really playing fantastic at this point, and this last trapper gonna be killed. And finally, this cap has been crept out by both of them. Ooh, lots of militia being pulled by Kemper, but it looks like he was bringing them in for the fight. But at a good time, Cash decided to pull back, as there was a lot of wasted mining time there, and Kemper not going to commit to any sort of tower rush. And looks like we are just going to see a bunch of production, actually lots and lots of things being produced in these Arcane Sanctums. Really, it's going to take a while for Kemper to get up to a really good army value, because he has so many things queued up there that it's just going to take a while before he can actually spend all of his money and be in a good point to be able to attack. Considering that he hasn't actually bought really any items apart from that one healing potion, he's actually sold a couple items as well, so Kemper with not too great heroes at this point, but he will have a pretty good army soon enough. You know, Cash doing some nice creeping. He does have very nice items, especially on that Blade Master, having that boost speed and potion of greater healing, and plus I'm sure this wizard always drops a great item. Actually, Ring of Regeneration, not brilliant, but on something like the Blade Master, which is going to be doing a lot of harassing, never going to be really at full health. He's always going to be close to full health, and then he's going to take some damage. I guess he can regenerate it off. He can make pretty much as good use as anyone off of it, and so it looks like we're going to see the equivalent camp being crept out now by Kemper. Still only level 1 on this Panda. That's really, really bad. He needs to get level 2 or level 3, really. As I say, Dragon Haze actually can work very nicely against that Blade Master if you do get the good positioning, so you can hit some grunts or raiders at the same time. That can be very, very effective. You know, this Blade Master looking for the creep jack, gonna find it, but not gonna come down in time. Talisman of Evasion dropping, but it hasn't been picked up yet. Cash might be able to pick it up. He seems like he hasn't noticed it, and no, oh wow, what a big mistake there by Cash, not noticing that Talisman of Evasion was just on the ground. He could have picked it up, and that would be another great item just to prolong the durability of that Blade Master, and really just dissuade Kemper from ever being able to focus it down. And it looks like the Blade Master gonna come in here, actually get a creep jack this time. Very, very nice. Does get the creep, and then does pick up the item, but it's not a brilliant item, and he will just be able to run away afterwards. No, he's doing some more creep jacking. Gonna need to be careful though, because he's out of mana. He does have this one wind walk, but he tries to break out of it yet again, but he doesn't actually manage to. That's almost good for him, really, because he could have been surrounded there. He does have that healing potion, so he could have fought his way out, and he does have his army nearby, so maybe he would have been okay, but still, it's a bit of a risk to take. And finally, Cash is now engaging. Does have a Kodo out as well, which immediately eats that water elemental. I think that's a good choice, because even though it's only a temporary unit, it just does so much damage in the meantime, especially to the Spirit Walkers and to the Grunts and to the Kodos. I mean, just so much DPS. And meanwhile, this Panda now chasing down individual units. The Archmage has been surrounded and being focused down. Yes, he is focused down. Oh my god, this is so bad now for Kemper, who doesn't have a TP. He's gonna have to fight this out. He does have a lot of caster stuff, and he has brought in Militia yet again. This is a good example of a great timing for that Militia use, because it's just gonna chase Cash away from an army they would otherwise very much want to be engaging. Meanwhile, Snare goes off this Panda now in a lot of trouble. Archmage being bought back. He does have this TP. He could use it right now and possibly save his Panda, but it looks like he's going to try and fight instead. This is a pretty gutsy move from him. The Panda being focused down to 100 hit points will go down very shortly. And meanwhile, Cash actually losing a lot of units himself, so maybe staying in this battle was a good idea. But no, the Archmage now having to TP away, and we can see that, ooh, Cash needs to be careful, or Kemper needs to be careful. He catches all his units. No, he doesn't. He misses five casters, but unfortunately all of Cash's units have been slowed, and there's no raiders left, so Cash is going to be entirely unable to do anything about it. One raider running in at the last second. Actually, 1/1 upgrades now for Cash as well. That's really unusual. Obviously, getting upgrades is not the best choice against, especially slow, just because obviously slow becomes more effective when sort of one slow affects a larger value of their army, and by having more units they have to cast more slows, which they obviously can't. So generally getting more units is good, unless you're maybe a 50 food, which I'm sure Cash was, and he just didn't want to push up. But even then, I think there's better uses for your money, and we're finally seeing some shopping here. We've seen barely any shopping in this game, as we see an Invuln pop being bought, but ooh, not a TP being bought. This could be pretty risky now, especially if Cash notices it, because he'll know that he can just go for a couple ensnares, a Hex, and a Blade Master focus, and hope to get that Archmage kill, at which point this entire army will basically be sitting ducks. A couple breakers now being added into the army as well by Kemper. He does have a couple footmen from the start as well, which are actually pretty good against those raiders, if you can get them positioned correctly. And we're seeing some shopping now from Cash, who does a lot of shopping, buys 2 scrolls of healing. That's going to be very nice in conjunction with that Spirit Link, but he does not have a huge army at this point. Meanwhile, Kemper actually doing some very aggressive creeping here, trying to steal some of Cash's creeps, and the Panda actually is out already, but he does need to make it back to the army, at which point I think Kemper will be quite happy to engage. And a nice position here on this creeps. We can see that if Cash wants to engage now, he has to go through the creep, so we can't get a creep jack from behind or anything, which would have been very, very nice. One Sork immediately being focused on by those raiders with Ensnare, and meanwhile Kemper actually picking up that tome in the middle of the battle, and going to continue to push forward. I think this is great positioning out for Kemper. Obviously he has his breakers in the front, and all his weak casters in the back. Even though his Panda's not quite here yet, it's still a decent battle for him to take. Meanwhile, ooh, level 4 now on the Shadow Hunter. That's just so big, and a Breath of Fire going off as well as that haste, as we see, and that's just so effective. But we do still have the 2 healing scrolls left on the Blade Master. One should be passed to the Shadow Hunter, but he hasn't used any yet. I think he should use some quite soon. And these militia now running in. This is great now for Kemper. He's going to be able to have a whole new meat shield, so that his casters can stay alive a lot longer. And it looks like the Blade Master going to do some more focusing, pick off one more breaker, and then decide to get out there. Very nice use of these bolts all game long now by Cash, just using them to negate the slow and get out of the battles when he knows things just aren't going well enough for him. And actually, I have to give Kemper had fantastic positioning in that battle, and he really didn't need a TP. Very, very impressive play there by him. Now keeping these peasants in the battle because it's just so far to run them back, and having them as a meat shield, especially in these tight chokes, is so, so useful. Panda now running in good, try to get a haze, but he's actually been blocked off a bit of careless play there by Kemper, who does eventually manage to get a breath of fire off, and it looks like some really nice meat shielding going off here, and actually some of these priests a bit too far back, and Blademaster now taking a lot of focus, will need to use his healing potion probably because he's actually blocking himself with his own grunts, and he's been slowed. Yes, does need to use that healing potion in the end, and the Raiders now taking a lot of damage as well. One of them is going to go down. They're just such weak units in reality, especially when they've been slowed, and the Blademaster is still actually being chased by these peasants. That's a bit of a mistake there by Kemper, but it looks like we are seeing a lot of focusing going down on these units now, but the Spirit Link is just so useful for Cash. He's really managing to negate that, especially with those 2 healing controls he bought. He's already used one, he does still have 1 left on that Shadow Hunter, and the nice use of Healing Wave as well. That's a sort of just, you can do so much healing. The Spirit Link just becomes so powerful, and actually this one Spell Breaker almost makes it away, but one last Ensnare goes off, and Kemper now going to lose a bunch of peasants in the end, and that was really nicely played there by Cash, who didn't have the best positioning, but just managed to build up a big enough army by being close enough to his base, as well as finally managing to pick off a couple units just that were being caught out in the open, which wasn't happening before, and that's just so nice there by Cash. He manages to capitalize on this, and finally this Trapper couldn't go down after being having the rest of his friends killed so long ago, and that's just going to provide a bit of experience, get closer to level 4 on that Archmage, closer to level 3 on that Panda, but ooh, looks like we are seeing an attack coming straight out here from Cash, and we do have the Blademaster actually already in the base of Kemper, just scanning out what's here, knowing where or if he should attack. Obviously it's a bit riskier to attack if there's the whole army in the base, because that means not only is the army already there, but the militia can be called so quickly, but not too many lumber peasants, actually no lumber peasants left. Now for Kemper, that's a bit risky play there by him, because it's going to mean that he's going to that if the game goes a bit longer, he's going to be in a bit of trouble. He's going to have to rebuild some of those, and certainly he won't be able to do too much repairing or anything like that, but it seems like that's not really Kemper's first priority, so maybe that makes sense of all of those militia and not rebuilt any, and luckily we are seeing an engagement now. Cash trying to focus down this one breaker, but taking a lot of damage in the process. Dispel going off to get rid of a lot of those water elementals, so it's a very good choice, very bad by Kemper to leave them all so close together so that they can all be dispelled like that. Level 5 Blademaster now, that's going to just give such amazing critical strikes, but level 3 Panda at the same time, and level 4 Archmage, so really high levels here from both sides, and actually we're seeing pretty close to level 5 on the Shadow Hunter as well. A nice readjustment there by Kemper. He really has a good idea of how to wall off, or how to sort of form walls of units, and then just shuffle the lower ones to the back, and just keep his army alive. And look at how much slow there is. There's just not enough dispelling of Cash's own units, and too much of a dispelling of those water elementals perhaps, or maybe he just needs more Spirit Walkers overall by going for that early Coda Beast. That really did hurt him a bit in that sense, and meanwhile this Panda now doing a bit more damage, but really actually he's doing a nice job of keeping units in the range of the Arcane Tower, especially keeping the Blademaster there. It's very nice. The Blademaster now very low, gonna have to run home, but look at how low all of Cash's army is. No TP obviously for the Orc, so he's gonna lose a couple units here. Another Breath of Fire goes off, and actually this back Raider shouldn't be focused down. It should be some of the slightly more forward units, because you know you're gonna get that Raider kill. And meanwhile another slow going off on this Coda Beast, who has eaten the Sork, so that probably gonna come back if we can get the Sorks up close enough to get it off another slow, but looks like maybe we won't be able to. Maybe we'll see another Drunken Haze actually to try and slow it down a bit more, and also obviously do a bit more damage as well, but it looks like I'm not sure. Maybe Kemper's not going for that. Maybe he just wants to get far enough forward that he can push immediately before the healing salves can take effect. 2-1 upgrades now for a Cash. That's really a huge amount of upgrades, and this Coda Beast finally going to go down. Maybe? No, it looks like he's probably going to be able to make it back. We might see a Healing Wave just to keep it alive for a bit longer. Breath of Fire goes off. No, the Sork actually comes out, but then is immediately killed, and killing that Sork actually gives level 5 on that Shadow Hunter, and it looks like another Sork being cut out at the front, but a couple of Raiders still being in the front of this battle. Nice Breath of Fire, level 3 Breath of Fire, actually doing alright against that Orc army. Obviously, even though, as I say, the Orc units are very high health, there are so few of them, you can hit so many of them that you can actually, if you get the good positioning, do a good amount of damage with the Panda, but still things like Beastmaster are much more common, just because you can imagine if Cash had to dispel the Quillbeast and stuff as well, he just would have even more slow on his army, which has just been such a critical factor in this game so far. And it looks like the Panda now being very, very aggressive, going to aggressive position because he knows that Cash's army is already low, and if Cash were to go for a surround at this point, he would lose so many units. So we can really see some good aggression here. Also, the Panda sort of does have to be aggressive because there's only one breaker left, and then after that there's only the Archmage, a couple summons, and just the Swords, which are all so weak. And actually quite interesting thing was that we saw very early in this game that Kemper got both the Adept upgrades for the Priest and the Swords, which is an interesting choice. I like the fact that he could dispel the Spirit, like, just because that, and the Hex as well, obviously, but that just means it's another thing that the Spirit Walker has to spend mana on, which he just really doesn't have the mana for, especially considering how slow mana regenerates on Spirit Walkers and how they cost 3 foods. You can get fewer of them, so it's a nice choice there by Kemper, I think, but it is a bit risky in that his early game army was a bit weak, but Kemper now doing a huge amount of damage, being able to take down so many units, but Orc units are just so resilient. Another could be so maybe gonna be able to eat up a Spellbreaker does manage to eat it up, and it looks like the that should be actually being healed up very nicely there. That level 3 healing wave is so strong, and Ensnare immediately going off from this one raider that pops out. We have to see if Kemper wants to focus it down, just because having raiders when you're trying to retreat is so dangerous. And bear in mind, we haven't seen a TP bot by Kemper, which is just so risky by him, and so it looks like actually we're going to see one of these priests being focused on, but nice micro here by Kemper. He's microed so many low casters back, and that's very risky. Panda being close to be surrounded, but nice, he just dodges out, and then that even gives him the go position for the good Breath of Fire. And now the Shadowhunter is very low, being forced to buy some items. Does actually heal himself up better than buying a healing potion, obviously, and it looks like he's going to be able to focus on another one of these breakers, but his Shadowhunter continues to be low. Now he has to buy a healing potion because he can't buy another mana potion as his healing wave is on cooldown, and then Snare goes off on this Panda. Panda very low, but very close to level 4 as well. Invisibility being used, very nice choice there, and then immediately pops out of invisibility as long as he's not surrounded. Goes for the kill on the Shadowhunter, who does manage to get away with 2 hit points. Oh my god, Spirit Link is so good, and now another invisibility goes off, does get the kill, even though the Ensnare had just worn off. Very tight there, but Cash does manage to get that kill. Level 4 Panda going down is so huge, and now the Archmage though is level 5, actually bringing out a Water Elemental 2 seconds too soon. If he'd waited a bit longer, he would have been able to get the super level 3 Water Elemental, but it looks like the Shadowhunter actually managed to heal up in the back of the army, and Cash has done a fantastic job of coming back into this game after he was looking a bit down out earlier on, but this Water Elemental doing a lot of damage to this Kodo Beast, who's actually pretty important to the army. And now we're seeing Kemper really being in trouble and not buying that TP. He does use an invulnerability potion, and he can heal himself up with those priests in the meantime, just to keep his Archmage alive, which is so critical. If he loses this Archmage, I can't see him coming back in this game, but he is managing to bring it further back now that he has a couple breakers out and the Water Elemental to tank a bit. He's in a decent position, and maybe he's going to be able just to run away by keeping his Water Elemental as a distraction, and I don't think the Raiders will be able to do too much because the slow can just go off. Yes, there we go there. Maybe we'll see an Ensnare go off by Cash. No, he doesn't quite manage to get one, and so it looks like this Blade Master probably going to try and pick off one low unit and try and maybe block some others from getting away while the Raider catches up. No, the Raider's being blocked by some other unit. Doesn't look like Cash is going to be able to do too much here. Invisibility even being used. Very nice Hex going off, and invisibility being used yet again. Really smart play here by Kemper, making fantastic use of that invisibility and the huge amount of mana he has on his casters because of having that level 5 Archmage with a level 2 mana regeneration. Very smart play here by Kemper. And actually, these last couple units finally trading in and going to be healed up by the priests, although actually there's not too many units left for Kemper, and in this small unit situation, the Orchard does so much better when neither player has too many units, but both players have high level heroes. We do have, I think, 5-4 versus 6-5. Yeah, 6-5. That's just going to be a bit better for Cash, and Cash actually has a pretty decently sized army, still at 38 food compared to 43, and although bear in mind that a lot of that is the Panda, which has just come back now, and both of Cash's heroes, or both of Kemper's heroes, are slightly lower level as well, so it's a bit risky. Ooh, this one Raider doing a bit of scouting, but does get slowed. Will he be able to get out of slow? No, it doesn't look like it. He's going to have to go for an Ensnare at the last second just to try and slow down Kemper a bit, and then just going to die, which is a bit of a shame there. A bit of a mistake, really, but it looks like Kemper, is he doing some long-distance mining, or I'm not quite sure what his plan is here. It looks like he's out of, both the naturals have now run out, so it looks like he's just going to be doing a bit of long-distance mining, trying to get a bit, maybe one more unit, which can change the game, but he should probably be aware of the fact that he should be bringing that those peasants into militia form for the Bannock, because that's really so useful as well. And the Archmage now having invisibility cast on himself, so he can go out, check for a creep jack coming in, and at the same time that just means that the panda's going to get all the experience here, which is really what you want, because you don't want your Archmage snapping out any experience. And the identical camp being crept at by Cash now, leaving it, bearing in mind both these heroes are above level 5, he's not going to get any experience, but he will get a tiny amount of gold and some decent items as well. Ring of Regeneration yet again. I think he sold his last one. Yeah, he did. So really no. It's, as I say, it's pretty much the worst item you can get there. Both players now long distance mining as well. Neither player saved up enough to expand, and even at this late stage, it's better just to have had that really strong early game army and not worry too much about the late game. And as long as you can see your opponent isn't expanding, you generally don't need to expand as well. And there's a Blade Master now sticking around this army. It sees invisibility has been cast on the two heroes, but he's not going to be able to track them down. I don't think he did buy a dust. No, he didn't. He might actually be quite smart to buy one at this point, because it's not too expensive. Nice positioning on this panda for the haze fire because he was invisible. And now Cash a bit on the retreat here. The panda can't be too aggressive though, because that level 6 Blade Master is going to do so much damage. Even though there is going to be the invisibility, you can dispel on the area as long as you catch it quick. It's not too tricky to do. And another dispel goes off here. A lot of focus going down on this Shadow Hunter, but the Blade Master really doing a lot of damage to, oh, look at this, he was doing a lot of damage to casters, but he went into Windwalk form and didn't break out of it, so he lost a lot of CPS there. That's very unfortunate. And Castra cooking some peons maybe on a unit, but that means they forgot to stay in the fight. And a lot of breakers actually, which don't do amazing against peons. You really need to keep away from that. Need to be more careful. But the Shadow Hunter now at level 6, level 3 Hex just lasts for such a long time, but does need to be very careful because he is very low and he still only has 750 health. He needs to heal himself up again, but he's out of mana. Looks like this Shadow Hunter going to go down. Yes, he does, and that means level 5 on that panda as well. Very, very nice played here by Kemper, who does have his Archmage still invisible. We'll need to bring it back out because he does have a lot of health. There he goes there. There's a Kodo at full health, but has eaten a breaker, so it's well worth eating. And it looks like a lot of low peons here from all that Spirit Link. Very, very nice there. But one Breath of Fire will take all of them out, basically. Very tremendous play here by both players, really making great use of that high level panda, and a nice critical strike there going off from that Archmage, but just not enough. And we do have GG from Cash. He had no way of buying back his Shadow Hunter. Wow, what an amazing game, so back and forth. I really thought Cash was playing it fantastically, but then we had a couple battles that really went Kemper's way, and then he lost his panda, but he did manage to pull it back in the end. Really great game. I hope you enjoyed that, folks. I'll bring you some more games very soon. Thanks.